Morning, friends. So I've had it. I'm done. I'm done. Uh, the summer garden is coming out today. There are still things trying to hang on, but I just can't beat the rats. So behind me is what yesterday afternoon was a gorgeous stand of corn that was tasseling and ready to go. And now it is flattened and chewed and stripped. They definitely climbed and got in overnight. So I'm done. Everything's coming out. As you can see, it's super shaded in here. It is 10 o'clock. It will still be shaded in 2 hours. We have to do some major tree trimming in order to get this garden in the sun again. It does get afternoon sun, but I'm thinking at this point, it's probably only about 5 hours. And plants struggle in that. So while I am planning to start a fall garden, and I already have seedlings in the greenhouse for that, I am going to be making, with 1/4-inch hardware cloth, solid cloches like this, but big, custom fit over my metal raised birdies beds. I'm going to sink it down into the bed on the sides, and then the ends will have pieces that are cut to fit and zip tied, also sunk down. I'm having to do extreme things in order to grow anything in this garden. So, yeah, I was super excited yesterday afternoon when I came out and saw the corn was tasseling and the watermelon was growing up the side of the cage and it had fruit on it. Overnight, that's all gone. So now I'm in tear it all out mode. So that's what we're doing today. I'm not going to have time to build any of the birdies beds. It's going to get really hot today. So I'm just going to be out here working until I'm done, until my body is like, yep, it's too hot and you're in direct sun. So it's a bummer because I do still have zucchini producing, and our first frost doesn't come till November. So, you know, in a rat-free garden, I could have all this stuff still producing things for me, and I could still be planting some things, summer things like beans. I could still be doing that. But that is not to be. So I'm going to enjoy using my rage to rip out the stuff that's left. So we're going to take down all the cages, pull out all the plants. I do need to trim back the blackberry canes. We never got blackberries this year. If you were around earlier, you will know that because the rats ate all the leaves and all the flowers off of all the canes. So the canes are still there and they're continuing to grow, but I need to cut those back pretty hard so that then I can weave them into the fence, and they'll still put on a little bit more growth this year, but then I won't have to do a crazy unproductive prune in spring. I'm going to go ahead and do that now. So also I had grapes. I had 4 bunches of beautiful grapes. Those are all gone as well. So yeah, I'm done. So I'm going to put on a book and start working. And maybe once I get it all cleaned out and it looks nice and pristine, it'll feel mentally a little bit better. But at least I know I have plenty of hardware cloth to use to make my custom beds. The only thing I need to do is get a new fence tool because that broke the other day when we were cutting the hardware cloth for the greenhouse floor, which by the way is still working. I go in there every morning and check and make sure there's no, they haven't been able to pull the staples out of the wood to get underneath and get in. So far, nothing. And I am spraying peppermint oil spray around the perimeter every night. So at least that still feels like a pristine, safe place. Okay, I'm going to get started. Hopefully this process will make me feel better. Garlic planting is coming real soon, and that means I need to. They don't seem to eat the garlic, but at this point, I don't even know, because everything I've been told, they won't eat onions. They do. So they eat the hot peppers. So I don't trust that. I'm going to have to come up with some cages for these beds as well that have lids on them. These are 4x4 beds, but all the birdies beds will be the same size, and so I can just make a template and go from there. And at some point I'll have to take those cages off because the plants will get big enough that it won't work anymore. But I'm hoping that getting them to a decent size, and at that point maybe we'll have the cats by then, and hopefully that will help. Okay, I'm gonna get started. that's going to be it for me for the day. It's getting really hot and I'm hungry. Made progress, but it's funny. I took a break in between some of what you saw and went and had a snack. And I told Mike, I keep having squirrel moments because I'm like doing something, like when I was carrying the tomato trellises back to where they belong at the end of the garden, I'd see something and be like, oh, and start working on that. It's like distractions everywhere. There is so much to be done out here, but that's okay. I have a lot, the same things have to be done at the farm. So we'll be busy for the next 6 to 8 weeks, and that's good. Anyway, so I spent a bunch of time fixing a lot of irrigation issues in those front beds. There were holes where they'd been chewed through and just a whole bunch of stuff. So I've got all that sorted. That means that irrigation is working. The irrigation in this bed is connected to that zone. So I had to fix some problems in here too. And I did clean out the Centranthus. I don't normally do any fall cleaning. I usually leave all this stuff up. Like this salvia right here won't even bloom for another month. It is a very late blooming salvia. It's a red one. It's gorgeous. I love it. And this buddleia, still going to keep blooming. I do want to deadhead it though to keep it going. I leave these up all winter. I'll cut them back in very early spring, about this tall, and then they'll give me this growth again. Every single year it does that. So I don't normally cut things back, including the Centranthus, but the Centranthus, it likes to lay over things, right? This is false valerian. This is the white variety. And it's been blooming since early spring. I mean, it's an amazing plant. I just planted red ones along the front walk. So I'll have two varieties to use. Anyway, I went ahead and cut it back because, and it'll probably come back before the frost and give me more flowers. But it was laying down on top of the milkweed and the penstemon and stuff, and that, that just smothers the other plants. Normally, when it's in a high bloom, I'm cutting it back, stems all the way to the ground every day for harvesting, and so it doesn't do that laying over other plants thing. So I went ahead and cut all that back. I also will be doing some selective hard pruning that I would normally do in the spring. I'll be doing some of that this fall as well because I'm trying to eliminate as much rat habitat as possible in the garden. And so, I mean, they're right on the outsides, like in the creek bed right behind me is tons of rat habitat. So, what I'm doing is not going to cause that big of a, of a change, but it does help if they don't have a very close place to run and hide. So, we have made it now to here. I haven't even started on the roses. I don't do a hard prune on these until like end of January, early February. I always think about it, the Super Bowl is when I do it. And so I'm not really going to do any hard pruning. I just want to cut back the ones that are coming over the pathways so that we can get by without being stabbed by thorns. The fruit trees already got their summer pruning, so they're good until probably early spring, very early spring or late winter. If they need any, I think they're going to be okay. I did a hard prune of the blueberries because those were getting really leggy. Like the canes that were producing fruit were so far out away from the pot, and it was hard to support them. So I did a hard prune. It's possible that I won't get fruit next year because I pruned back even some that are new canes this year, but that's okay. Sometimes you need to rejuvenate, prune a plant. And the blackberries, I did the same thing. I did some hard cuts and wove some through the fence. So we'll just see what happens there. The pruning the blackberries is going to be, this spring is going to be challenging because normally you want to, sorry, there is a wasp on my wrist. Jesus, it bit me. It bit me. Okay. Ow. It didn't sting me, it bit me. Normally when you prune blackberries, you want to prune off last year's canes because they're going to bloom on new wood that comes up in the current year. But I don't know which canes were going to flower because yeah, you normally when I'm pruning, I'm like, oh, there's the old flowers, there's the old fruit, you know, spurs, and I can just prune off that cane. But because the rats stripped all the canes, I don't really know what's going on. So I might have to do a really hard rejuvenation prune of those as well. Take them down to the ground, which I don't really want to do. But again, it might just be necessary in order to reset. There's a monarch butterfly floating through the garden right now. So that's it on the garden today. Tomorrow we'll start here and start working on the southern half, which is like all, which is the few raised beds I've already got, the tomato patch, all that stuff. And I can build the birdies beds and set them up, but we won't fill them obviously for a while because I need to order compost for that. And I need to make all of the metal cloches that are going to fit over. That's going to be a big job. I need to get some special gloves because the metal catches on the fabric part, and then so I just need some good leather gloves that I can work on those with. So it's going to be a big project, but at least I'll feel like they're somewhat protected. I did talk today while I was taking my little break to the gal who runs the county feral cat program, and they've actually like up last week got I don't want to say got rid of, adopted out the last of the feral cats that they had. They do have a new batch. They're not necessarily feral. They were rescued from a hoarding situation, a horrible hoarding situation. They are malnourished. They were inside this woman's house. There was like 30 of them. And so they're being like processed, spayed, neutered, getting their vaccinations, getting them like, rehydrated and well fed. And so she was happy to let me adopt 2 of them. But when she went on Google Maps and looked at the property, she has the same exact concerns that I do, which is the busy road that we're on. She said, ultimately, we talked for a long time about this. She said, ultimately, I'll leave it up to you, but, there is a good chance that they'll be hit by a car. And I don't know if I can live with that, you guys. I grew up with indoor-outdoor cats and multiple times had cats hit by cars. One time right in front of me. I saw it as a little child. The cat was killed. So I do have trauma from that, which is why as an adult, ever since 1995, when I got my first cats of my own, they've always been indoor. For me, they live longer. I know they're safe, and I do provide lots of enrichment for them. I play with my cats, my indoor cats, every day. They get at least 20 minutes in the morning and usually 20 minutes in the evening. Even Raven, who is now 10, she still wants that. And so there's lots of things that I do to help their lives be more interesting inside. And so it's hard enough for me to accept the idea of outdoor cats. But knowing that this road is dangerous, I mean, I've seen people drive like crazy on it. It's 35 and they do 50 or 55 or 60 all the time. It's nuts. And the high school is on the other end. So the students are back and forth all the time. So I'm still, I don't know, you guys. It feels like I love the idea of rescuing them from a horrible situation. The neighbors of this hoarder woman have threatened to put bleach in the cat's food that the rescue workers are leaving out. It's a terrible situation. So I love the idea of helping them. One thing I said that I could do, which would be a lot more care, is to close them in at night in their, I'm going to build a little cat house for them, just like I would close in chickens. And that would keep them from getting out onto the road. Now, most of the rat problem happens at night, but some of it does happen during the day, and cats do hunt during the day as well. And there's a lot of farmers have told me that they have cats that don't even really hunt. Like they don't see them hunting. But that I think just the presence of cats, the smell of their urine, the smell of them as predators, has been enough on these farmers' properties to almost eliminate their rat problem. And so that's what's kind of drawing me towards it. But it also means a lot more care for more animals. And I don't mind that on the day-to-day. But when we go out of town, that's more expense for cat sitters and stuff like that. Well, pet sitters, but they take care of our chickens anyway, so they'd be coming out here anyway. So I don't know. I'm debating this with you. Leave a note in the comments what you think. I still feel kind of in my gut that it's the best option, unless I just want to stop. I'm going to move out of this spot because these wasps. Unless I just want to stop gardening altogether, and that to me is not an option. So, oh, here's another monarch. So that's where we stand, and hopefully I can make a decision. Yeah, I just need to do a little bit more research and maybe give me your thoughts and ideas. But she was hesitant to suggest that I take them because of that road. And this is someone who places cats all the time, has been doing it for 10 years. So I don't know what to do, guys. Okay, I'm gonna go eat lunch and get this video edited and take off my wet clothes. I'm soaking wet because I had lots of irrigation issues and I kept getting pummeled. In fact, so wet my glasses were covered, my phone wouldn't even recognize my face. All right, thanks for hanging out, you guys. I hope you have a wonderful time in your garden, and I'll see you in the next one.